Larry Bird has had enough of Caitlin Clark being mistreated by the WNBA. And he's had enough since her altercation with Marina. Larry is now giving Caitlin Clark options that are too excellent to pass up. What was it he said? What was Caitlin Clark's response? There is no denying Caitlin Clark's influence on the WNBA. She gave the league unparalleled attention as the 2024 WNBA Draft's #1 choice. She broke several milestones during her first season, including the WNBA's single-season assist record of 337 and the rookie point record of 761. I can't believe Caitlin Clark. Her games immediately increased viewing by 170%, with 18 of the 21 games showcasing her Indiana Fever on ESPN surpassing 1 million viewers. Additionally, you should focus on this section. Ratings fell 55% when Clark missed a run of games in June 2025 because of a groin injury, going from 9.9 million viewers to less than 4.5 million. In line with a 30% decline in attendance for non-Fever games, ticket sales also declined. Here's why you should care. Clark is more than a mere athlete. She is the WNBA's financial engine, increasing franchise values by 180% on her own between 2024 and 2025, with the Fever's worth rising by 273%. It was unbelievable. Here's what they aren't telling you, though. Clark's star power has been continuously underutilized by the WNBA, despite her revolutionary influence. She absorbed 17% of all flagrant fouls in the league in 2024, which is an incredible number for a rookie player with just 40 games played. The league's incapacity to protect its most valuable asset was then brought to light by instances like Marina Mabrey's flagrant 2 shove on June 17, 2025, and JCS Sheldon's eye poke, which escalated the roughness this season. Fans and commentators like Christine Brennan were incensed when the WNBA upped Mabrey's infraction after the game, but did not suspend him. They also chastised Commissioner Kathy Engelbert for not denouncing the hit categorically. And just wait if you think that's horrible. Clark's $11 million in endorsements far outweigh her $78.66 salary, highlighting the league's inability to fairly compensate its finest talent. Things start to get risky at this point. The WNBA's business strategy, which mainly depends on the NBA to make up its losses, has long been unsustainable. Despite a $200 million yearly television deal and high viewership, the league recorded a $40 million loss in 2024, which is in line with its trend of yearly deficits since its founding in 1997. About half of the WNBA's running expenses are covered by the NBA, with Forbes estimating that the league receives $15 to $20 million in direct funding each year. Additionally, the repercussions were harsh. This reliance on money has created a complacent culture in which the WNBA puts political positions before of commercial gain, alienating the very player who would help them become independent. What if I told you that wasn't the worst part, though? The WNBA has adopted narratives that diminish Clark rather than using her popularity to expand the league. Fan dissatisfaction is rampant on social media, with one post saying, "The WNBA is more concerned with checking boxes than making money." They are discarding Caitlin Clark, who is their key to relevance. It has been argued that Engelbert's unwillingness to specifically acknowledge Clark's contributions, often combining her name with others like Angel Reese, dilutes her influence. For instance, even though Clark's games get 80% of the league's top audience, when questioned about Clark, Engelbert usually brings up the whole 2024 rookie class. This is the point at which everything goes totally awry. This strategy has strengthened opinions that the WNBA prioritizes identity politics over leveraging a once-in-a-generation talent pool, a position that could drive away sponsors and supporters. And that's only the tip of the iceberg. The problem is made worse by the WNBA's unwillingness to confront Clark's physical targeting directly. Mabry shoved Clark to the ground during the game against the Sun on June 17, 2025, which led to a brawl with Fever guard Sophie Cunningham. The reaction of the league. Cunningham's $400 punishment and lack of bans sent a message that playing aggressively against Clark would not have much of an impact. The WNBA is okay with Clark getting beat up because it fits their narrative, one user said as fans erupted on social media. The money she brings in is irrelevant to them. Clark's ninth-place placement among guards in player-voted All-Star ballots, despite 1.3 million fan votes, and this incident point to internal opposition to her fame. This is the part, though, that no one anticipated. A legend like Larry Bird has been able to take Clark's place since the league hasn't accepted him. Things take a startling turn at this point. Larry Bird understands the experience of being an outsider in a league that doesn't accept you completely. The Boston Celtics' great faced suspicion when he joined the NBA in 1979 because he was a white player from a rural Indiana town in a league that was dominated by urban athletes. His straightforward style, which is based on basics, court vision, and clutch shooting, raised doubts among critics about its ability to compete. It gets much more unbelievable, I promise. Birds dispelled skeptics by leading the Celtics to a 61-win season, averaging 21.3 points and 10.4 rebounds as a rookie, and winning 3 MVP honors and 3 titles by 1986. According to Nelson Research, his battle with Magic Johnson helped the NBA avoid financial obscurity by increasing ratings by 52% in the 1980s. Bird's trip is strikingly similar to Clark's. Similar to Clark, he was a game-changing player whose distinct style, long-range shooting, and superb passing altered the course of play. This is where things start to become pretty intriguing. Trash talk and rough play with Birds. However, the NBA saw his potential right away and centered their marketing efforts on him and Johnson. Given that Bird's presence packed arenas and generated cash, no team would ever consider letting him leave. You won't believe what follows, though. Clark, on the other hand, feels excluded by the WNBA, as though her quick ascent threatens the league's existing structure. A player whose talent and marketability are being wasted by a league too preoccupied with politics to see the wider picture. Bird, who has openly lauded Clark, is said to view her as a kindred soul. And this is the point at which everything goes totally wrong. According to rumors that appeared on June 17, 2025, Larry Bird, using his clout as an NBA legend and former Celtics CEO, offered to support Clark by advising her own WNBA team, giving her authority over her surroundings and brand. Although specifics are still up in the air, the plan fits with Bird's track record of audacious actions. You won't believe the true reason he once lobbied for front office reforms to increase the Celtics' competitiveness. According to reports, Bird feels that the WNBA has let Clark down by undervaluing her contribution to the league's expansion and failing to shield her from physical abuse. Caitlin Clark is a talent you build around, not push aside, he remarked in a rare public comment. It's unfortunate that the WNBA is falling behind. Stay tuned because there's a big twist coming up. There is more to Bird's offer than merely Clark. It challenges the WNBA's flawed business strategy. A team led by Clark and maybe supported by investors attracted to her portfolio of 11 million endorsements might function on its own or compel the WNBA to change. With an average of 500,000 likes on her Instagram post, Clark's games account for 60% of the league's social media engagement, whereas each sport receives 150,000 likes. A new team under her leadership might be worth as much as the Fever, which is valued at $95 million, especially considering her capacity to attract sponsors and fans. And the last twist is something nobody saw coming. Bird's participation suggests that Clark is valuable outside of the WNBA, which might draw NBA investors fed up with funding a league that won't take advantage of its brightest player. This is the point at which everything breaks down. One obvious problem with the WNBA is its financial reliance on the NBA. Since its inception, the WNBA has been able to continue functioning despite persistent losses because the NBA has paid for around half of its expenses, which are estimated to be between $15 and $20 million a year. Despite Clark-driven income increases in 2024, like as a 30% increase in ticket sales and a $200 million broadcast deal, the WNBA's $40 million deficit remained. At that point, things started to go in an unexpected direction. The league has increased its emphasis on storylines that put inclusion ahead of profitability rather than funding Clark's elevation and protection, alienating supporters who view her as the key to expansion. However, the majority of individuals totally overlook this. It is believed that the WNBA is antagonistic to its biggest star because of its emphasis on identity politics, which is demonstrated by Engelbert's hesitation to single out Clark and the players' union's support of veterans like Janai Carrington following contentious fouls. One fan's comment on social media: "The WNBA would rather lose money than admit Clark's the reason people are watching," reflects this opinion. It's a poor business decision, and you'll see why this is so crucial by the end of this. The league's unwillingness to change its pay or officiating system. Because Clark only makes 0.7% of her $11 million market worth, she may be forced to choose between offshore leagues that offer $1 to $3 million each season or Bird's suggested team. This is where things start to get worse. The WNBA's shortcomings were encapsulated in the game played on June 17, 2025, against the Connecticut Sun. A pushing brawl broke out after JCS Sheldon poked Clark in the eye while the Fever were ahead 88-71. Then, in a play that was ultimately increased to a flagrant 2, Marina Maberry intensified the altercation by pushing Clark to the ground. The WNBA's response: no sanctions, $400 fine for teammates, and technical fouls for Clark and Maberry. The reaction by Sophie Cunningham was widely criticized. And wait until you see this if you find that shocking. Social media users criticized the league in one post that reads, "The WNBA fines her teammate for defending her after allowing Clark to be mauled." What a farce this league is. But hold on, the important part comes next. Bird, one of Clark's fans who draws comparisons to his own struggles, was inspired by the occurrence. His willingness to support a team led by Clark is a clear reaction to the WNBA's passivity. A request to provide her with the stage she merits. At that point, everything started to make sense. There was more to the Maberry incident than a simple foul. It represented a league's failure to safeguard its future. The best part is that we have only just begun. A league that has been relying too heavily on NBA subsidies needs to take note of Bird's idea. Bird is making the WNBA face its politics, profit, and priorities by giving Clark her own team. You won't be able to speak after what follows. Given her $28 million Nike contract and 1.3 million All-Star votes, Clark's marketability may allow her to maintain a new franchise and change the balance of power in the WNBA. She is largely to blame for the league's 180% increase in franchise valuation. However, players showed internal resistance by ranking her 9th among guards in the All-Star ballot. You should see this through to the very finish. Believe me, the WNBA is at a turning point. It can either take Clark on board, change the way it officiates, and put revenue first, or it can keep depending on NBA giveaways and risk losing its biggest star. Bird's offer challenges a league that hasn't seized its opportunity and provides Clark with a lifeline. The most absurd aspect is that it is entirely true. The WNBA's future depends on its ability to prioritize commerce and develop around Caitlin Clark, a player who has the potential to establish the league as a serious challenger to the NBA. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like, and share this video if you liked it.
Keep an eye out